Hey everyone, happy college football. Welcome to Porcelain Picks. I'm your host, Andrew Fabian. And here we are, the Friday eve of week 2. A lot of action ahead of us. Not quite as big of a week as week 1, but we've got plenty of picks ahead. We at Porcelain Picks are here to deliver the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow us all season long. We went 8-8 in week 1 after a 1-3 week 0. So we're improving, but we're not where our standards are. We're going to get back to our winning ways this week. We had a couple late losses last week. We're not going to talk about that on this show today. We're just going to dive into the action. We'll start with the Friday night game here. So we've got Duke at Northwestern. This over-under is significant. It's set at 37.5 right now, all right? Duke lost a lot of their offensive production from last year. They did gain Manny Diaz and a great head coach. He's out of Penn State. We know that slash and dash defense, which he's bringing to the Duke side of the football. Northwestern, we know defense is their strong suit. I think this is going to be a really slow-moving game regardless, but it's also being played at Northwestern's practice facility. Their main field, nothing to really write home about anyway, but this one is right on Lake Michigan. It's going to be windy. It's supposed to be 15-mile-an-hour winds in Chicago in general, but this is right on Lake Michigan. You're going to see a lot of wind in this game on Friday night. Take the under. 2 stingy defenses, windy game, 37.5. Lock it, flush it. Start 1-0 on your Friday night action, all right? Let's jump into Saturday. So the noon slate, a couple good games here to pick. We've got Bowling Green at Penn State. So we do have our first and only Joey Maction lock of the week coming from Bowling Green, Penn State. So we'll go into the details here. So Joey Mack, according to his analysis, Bowling Green has an Indiana transfer quarterback coming in. This guy can put up points. He can sling the ball around. The offense itself is returning a number of starters. They beat Georgia Tech last year. They took Minnesota to the edge. Bowling Green, according to Joey Mack, is going to put up some points on my Nittany Lions. He says they score 14. He says that brings the game total to over 49.5. So the Joey Mack lock of the week, take the over, 49.5, Bowling Green, Penn State, lock it, flush it. I'm going to jump to my pick in this game, all right? The over-under is at 49.5. I do like the over. Penn State is a 34.5 point favorite in this game. I love Penn State with this number. Lock it, flush it. Drew Aller, I think, showed us that he can sling the ball around last week. I think Andy Kotelnicki, the new offensive coordinator, has only scratched the surface of the play calls he's going to have. I think they flex on Bowling Green in front of a home crowd. I think Harrison Wallace gets into the end zone again. I think both Nicholas Singleton and Allen will get into the end zone this week. Take Penn State minus 34.5. Lock it, flush it. That's the 2 picks in this game. All right, we'll go to the big game of the week. So we've got Texas visiting Michigan. This game opened up with a Michigan 3.5 point dog at home. It's now 7.5 points. As there's a bit of an overreaction to Texas blowing out Colorado State in week 1 and Michigan just surviving in their first game of the year against a crappy team in Fresno State. What I really love in this game, you got a Texas side that is sound on defense. They lose a lot of pieces on offense. Xavier Worthy, we saw him go off in the NFL opener last night. But Quinn Ewers is back. He's got some smaller receivers who are speedy. Watch out for Squirrel White this season. They're poor in the red zone when it comes to their offensive production last year. I think that's going to carry over against a stingy Michigan defense. I think that's the strong suit in Michigan. That's not telling you anything you don't know. They've got a walk-on quarterback who started last week. I think he's going to start again. I think you might see some action from both quarterbacks in this game. You got a dual threat quarterback. The name escapes me off the top of my head, but that walk-on didn't have a great performance. He missed a couple of throws. I see this game starting out as a defensive battle. For that reason, I love the first half under. This is 21.5. I think Texas pulls away late and might win by double digits, but Michigan's going to make it a game for the first half before they make a couple crucial errors in the second half. So take that first half under, 21.5, lock it, flush it. All right, let's go on to Kansas State at Tulane, another noon game. On the Kansas State side of the football, we know they lost Will Howard in the transfer portal. He's now a Buckeye. They've got Avery Johnson as their starting quarterback. He threw pretty well yardage-wise last week against a cruddy team, but he actually was under 50% passing. They have a real beast in their running back, DJ Giddens. Watch out for this kid in Big 12 action this year. You got a Tulane side, which is coming into this game as the AAC champ. They actually struggle at home, but these two teams met 2 years ago. Tulane actually got the better at Kansas State by 7 points. It was 17-10 in that game. Tulane plays a slow pace. Kansas State typically goes under on the road. I really love the under in this game. 47.5. Take the under. Lock it. Flush it. 3:30 action. We've got South Carolina at Kentucky. This is an SEC battle between two bottom-of-the-barrel teams. Well, Kentucky's middle of the barrel, but South Carolina only ran 39 plays on offense last week. They've got a slow offense. They're not good on offense. Kentucky with Mike Stoops, they like to play. They said they were going to play fast-paced, but it's been slow-paced from the get-go. I like the under. It's a low total at 42.5, but take the under. I think one team might reach 20, but under 42.5. Lock it, flush it. All right. We're going to go to the Battle of the Iowas. Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa comes in as a 2.5-point favorite. Iowa put up some points last week. It was 40 points on the board in a 40-0 defeat. They did play Illinois State, so not a great defense on that side of the ball. But Cade McNamara was able to sling it around. They had a couple of receivers emerge, actually 3 receiving touchdowns from wide receivers in that game last week. That was more than all of last season combined. I like the Hawkeyes in this spot. Iowa State has a really injured and kind of small linebacking core. I think Iowa's going to be able to expose that as the game goes on. Iowa State's offensive line is also dinged up. Give me the Hawkeyes, -2.5. Lock it, flush it. All right, the night slate. We've got Colorado and Coach Prime traveling to Nebraska to face the Cornhuskers. This is an old school rivalry matchup, an old Big 8 matchup regenerated here. So there's 2 picks that I like in this game. Nebraska, at the time of this recording, is a 6.5-point favorite. I like that one. I'll tell you why in just a minute. But what I really love in this game is the first half under 28.5. Lock that, flush that. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to come out. He's going to play not at the gunslinger mentality. I think Colorado is going to try to be methodical. They're going to try to establish the run, something they couldn't do last week. I think on the Nebraska side of the football, they're going to do the same. They're going to try to control the play, contain Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Watch out for Tommy Hill. He's a lockdown corner on in Nebraska's backfield. He's probably a top 20 cornerback in all of college football. He's going to be head and shoulders better than the corner that Travis Hunter faced last week. So watch out for that matchup. But really the time of possession in this game is what I want to highlight. Last week, Colorado had 22 minutes time of possession. We know they throw the ball a lot. We know that's why they have quicker drives. Nebraska had 37 minutes of time of possession last week. And I think that's going to really show up. I think Nebraska is going to be able to lean on the run. This second half is going to be a little bit all over the place. You never know with Shedeur Sanders. This kid can play. He can throw the ball. Travis Hunter, I think, is the best player in all of college football. So I'm going to go with the first half under 28.5. Lock it, flush it. I also like Nebraska to win at home under the lights. I think this is a different look Nebraska team. Dylan Raiola is an emerging second-year quarterback for the Cornhuskers. I think he's going to have a great year. Take Nebraska -6.5. Lock it, flush it. All right, we're going to jump over to Tennessee at NC State, another game that started with a closer spread that's now up to Tennessee 9.5. Over-under right now is 60.5. I think Tennessee is really undervalued this season. I think the line moved up to a reasonable spot. Nico, I am a Liava. I'm going to try that a couple times throughout the year. I'll perfect it at some point. I think this quarterback is a top 5 QB in all of college football. NC State's offense looked really sluggish against Western Carolina last week. They almost lost that game. Not almost. They pulled away late, but they were down in the second half. Take Tennessee -9.5. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns or more, and then take the over 60.5. This could be a game that's something like 42-28. Tennessee -9.5, over 60.5. Lock it, flush it. Last game of the night, we got App State going into Clemson to face the Clemson Tigers, who got blown out by Georgia last week. App State right now is a 17-point dog. Over/under is set at 52.5. I really like App State in this game to show up. I don't think Clemson's going to have a collapse like their buddies Florida State did. But I do think App State knows how to prepare for games in this spot. They know how to prepare for the big league games. Last year, as an example, App State went into Kyle Field, beat up on SEC team Texas A&M, won 14-7. So they kind of craft and mold themselves to what the game action needs. So I think App State takes this one plus 17. I think Clemson might win by 10 points. Take App State plus 17, lock it, flush it. I also love the under in this game, 52.5, lock it, flush it. I think Clemson's going to play defensive football. They're going to establish the possession. Cade Klubnik, I'm not sold on this guy. A lot of Clemson players, or a lot of Clemson fans rather, are calling for them to bench Klubnik. I don't think that should be the case, but I think he's going to struggle a little bit again today on Saturday. So take App State. Take the under, lock it, flush it. Those are your picks for this week. Thanks for taking the journey with us on Porcelain Picks. We are here to deliver the locks you need as you scroll atop the Porcelain Throne. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us all season long for your locks. Happy college football, everyone.